Evacuation orders lifted. What's ahead for residents of 2 Saskatchewan communities? Opening the books, what the public accounts say about the finances of Saskatchewan's crown corporations. And what has residents abuzz in one Saskatoon neighborhood.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the latest in northern Saskatchewan. Wildfire evacuation orders for residents of Creighton and Denair Beach have finally been lifted. Jasmine Peltier on what those returning can expect to see.
Even though we're safe, there is a tremendous amount of work that has to be done to bring us back to somewhat normality.
It's been a difficult month for residents forced to evacuate the town of Creighton due to wildfire. As of Sunday, the community is finally allowed to return home.
There was growing impatience on people wanting to get back home and see how their homes are, how the town is.
As of this afternoon, several hundred people had returned to Creighton, while others plan to travel home over the next few days. Residents in need of medical care are asked not to return to the community until essential medical services are back in operation. Mayor Bruce Fidler says infrastructure, including power and cell service, is operational and gasoline is also available. The town is telling those returning to bring groceries and any necessary medications.
We are hoping people phone us or stop by to let us know, but you know, they have more important things to do. They're checking on their home and checking on their property, checking on family.
The SPSA will be in Creighton June 24th to 26th distributing support checks.
Those are the $500 checks and any outstanding food security support checks. So there's a level of support they will be able to obtain once they return, which most of them have.
The evacuation order for residents of Denair Beach was also lifted. Highway 167 is only open to residents of Denair Beach and those who live along the highway. The roadblock will be removed June 25th. Across the border in Flin Flon, the evacuation order is still in effect until Wednesday. The town of Creighton hopes staggering the removal of the evacuation orders will help manage traffic on the return home. Jasmine Peltier, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Parts of Saskatchewan were hit with major rainfall over the weekend, with some areas receiving up to 80 millimeters of rain. That includes the southwestern area of the province. Flooding at the Eston Riverside Golf Course forced it to close. The rain came on the heels of another system that brought a downpour to the area last weekend, prompting the golf course to close for a first time. Board members say it will likely take a week of maintenance to get things back up and running.
It could have been anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, and then that's coming on the kind of the heels of last weekend. We also had kind of a similar downpour, so things had already been kind of saturated. So then I think the runoff this time was kind of much quicker than last weekend.
Despite the closure, Hartsook says the town is fortunate to have the golf course and is encouraging people to come for a visit once it has reopened. We also saw rain, Jeff, over the weekend, but today a mix of watches and warnings.
A mix of watches and warnings. A colder than seasonal day. We anticipated that, and we still have another cool day in store. But you can certainly see by the satellite and radar shot here that we've had some. Once you start seeing purples mixed in with the reds and yellows and greens, you know it's nasty. So yes, earlier today there was a tornado warning in effect for areas in and around the Outlook area, but that has since been lifted. In fact, all we have now is a big tornado watch box. No extreme weather warnings in effect, but there is still a watch box, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's to come later on.
Saskatoon police are investigating the death of a woman in the King George neighborhood as a homicide. Yellow police tape was up around a house in the 700 block of Weldon Avenue this morning. Police say they were called to a disturbance, but when they got there, they found a 53-year-old woman dead. A 32-year-old man was arrested at the scene and has been charged with second-degree murder. This is Saskatoon's 6th homicide of the year. A 13-year-old boy is being treated for life-threatening injuries after being shot over the weekend. Saskatoon police believe he was shot in the 400 block of of Avenue W South, but was dropped off at St. Paul's Hospital Saturday morning just before 5 o'clock. No other details about the shooting have been released. Anyone with information is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. We are learning more about the finances of the provincial crowns. All 7 crown corporations opened their books at the same time, which is drawing criticism from the opposition.
In an unusual move, the province tabled annual financials of all provincial crowns at the same time in Saskatoon, rather than giving each one its own day in Regina. And the Saskatchewan NDP say it was an attempt to downplay the reports.
They're trying to just sort of breeze by so that it doesn't get the scrutiny it deserves.
I find it very, very interesting that the NDP have not criticized anything in the actual reports, but instead they criticized the process. I think that says a whole lot right there, because this is a very, very strong report.
A rebounding economy saw more people spending money at casinos, VLTs, and online gaming, and SGI had to pull from its reserves for a 4th year in a row as modern vehicles become more expensive to fix. But much of the attention Monday was on Sask Power's plans to extend the life of all of its coal plants.
This isn't ideological. If we had hydro, we'd be doing more hydro. What we have here in this province is coal.
Sask Power saw revenues decline by more than $100 million, but with plans to extend beyond the federally allowed phase-out of coal by 2030, Harrison says it's not Ottawa's place to dictate terms, and conversations with the federal government have been different under Mark Carney's leadership.
The federal government has no standing in this discussion, period. The announcement last week, I guarantee, was no surprise at all to the federal government.
CEO Rupen Pandya says extending coal is about half the price of building new natural gas-powered plants, and the province is planning to double its grid capacity in the next 25 years as demand is forecasted to surge, with AI and electric vehicles using plenty of power.
Between 2025 and 2050, to deploy another 5,000 or 6,000 megawatts of power will be an unprecedented challenge.
While the NDP says if things don't change, it's only a matter of time before customers will have to pay more. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon is closer to a brand new school that will serve what was once 3 schools. Officials gathered for a groundbreaking this morning. John Flatters has more on the impact to the communities it will serve.
This is the site of a future school in the Riversdale neighborhood. Community leaders, representatives from the Saskatoon Public Schools Division, as well as some future students were on hand for a sod-turning ceremony.
This is quite an amazing day for this neighborhood in Saskatoon, I think. And you saw the excitement in the crowd here this morning amongst the students, the board members, teachers and staff, and the principal, and everyone who is here today. It's been a long time coming.
The province originally committed to the project in March of 2020, but progress has been delayed.
We as a school division, our board was in the middle of several conversations with potential partners for the project. So that added to a little bit of a delay. And then obviously through the pandemic, there was a bit of delay. But as I said, we're excited, really excited to get the project underway.
The new school will have room for 400 students from K to 8, as well as 74 childcare spaces. Skirvin says it will take students from what was previously 3 different schools.
We knew that there wouldn't be enough money for 3 new schools, obviously, in these areas, but the opportunity to build one state-of-the-art facility that amalgamated the 3 communities was appealing to us, and I think to the community as well.
The project was described as the community getting a new bike that will be passed on from generation to generation.
They're going to be taught how to ride that bike. They're going to be taught how to change equipment on that bike. And pretty soon when that bike gets old enough, they're going to give it away to someone else. And I think that's what the school represents, is our community.
The school board has been taking submissions for a new name that's better suited than its current one, the City Centre Project.
Right now, I think it'll be getting all of the names and kind of, putting them into categories and then having conversation with, again, our Indigenous Advisory Council and our board to determine what the name will be.
He says the new name will be announced in the fall, and construction is expected to take about 2 years. John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
An assistant for Saskatchewan MLA took the stand at a human trafficking trial today. Hallie Mandrick now on what he was called to talk about and why he was asked to help the alleged victim.
The trial of 2 men accused of human trafficking continues in a makeshift Rosetown courtroom, and now a Saskatchewan MLA has been connected to the matter. Mohammed Musam and Sohel Haider are each facing human trafficking charges in relation to the employment of a Bangladeshi woman. She has testified in court that she was hired under the promise of working in 3 Saskatchewan restaurants with living accommodations. The woman, whose identity is protected under a publication ban, testified that she had her personal documents and wages taken by her employers and experienced abuse and blackmail while living in a dirty basement. In court, one witness says he helped the alleged victim at the request of the MLA for Gull Lake, Doug Steele. Court heard Sean Checkley worked as an assistant in Steele's office. He testified that the MLA asked him to drive the alleged victim from a house in Elrose to a women's shelter in Swift Current. After the alleged victim was with staff in the shelter, Checklin testified that he returned to the MLA office and provided a statement to RCMP. Checkley added that this task was outside of the norm in terms of his typical duties, and afterwards felt as though it should have been handled by law enforcement. It's currently unclear how Steele first came in contact with the alleged victim. The trial will pick up again on Tuesday morning. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Rosetown.
A Regina chiropractor found guilty of 1 count of sexual assault last December was sentenced today. Ruben Mans will serve a 15-month conditional sentence that will include 200 hours of community service, a curfew, and a 10-year mandatory weapons prohibition order. The Crown had been pushing for 12 months in jail. We are learning more about the death of a 26-year-old man who was fatally shot by police in 2022 near Moose Jaw. An inquest into his death is underway. Sierra D'Souza Butts on how families are feeling during the first day of testimony.
The jury heard testimonies from 4 people on the first day of a death inquest for a Moose Jaw man who was fatally shot by police in 2022. Ryan Booker died in July of 2022 after police responded to reports of a man with a gun in a Moose Jaw parking lot. A pursuit ensued before Booker pulled over on Highway 1 near Belle Plaine. After a 6-hour standoff, police say Booker pointed a gun at officers and was shot. He reportedly received medical attention but was pronounced deceased at the scene. A jury was selected Monday for the coroner's inquest at Regina's Royal Hotel. On the first day, Booker's fiancée at the time shared details about his emotional state leading up to the incident, stating Booker took medication to treat his depression, but she noticed he stopped taking it a few months prior. On the day of his death, his partner says she and Booker's parents checked in on him, noticing he was using alcohol and drugs and struggling with mental health issues. Booker's parents also spoke at the inquest, his mother telling the jury, "I don't think he understood how much he was loved." His father told jury members that he wished police gave him an opportunity to speak to Booker at the scene. Family members of the 26-year-old continued to shed tears in the room as testimonies continued. The inquest expects to hear from 15 people before wrapping up by Friday, by which point the jury can make recommendations to prevent similar deaths in the future. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Some residents in the Stonebridge neighborhood are sounding the alarm over an unnerving sound. They say it's making it hard to sleep at night. As Carla Shinkrick tells us, a Facebook fact-finding mission seems to have solved the mystery of the noise that is disturbing the neighborhood peace.
That buzzing sound has created its own buzz in the Stonebridge community.
I would say it sounds like an air raid siren.
Jim Walters has lived in Stonebridge for 3 years. That's when the incessant buzzing started.
You have to close the window. I woke up at 5 last week one day, and it was going, and I couldn't go back to sleep.
He posted his concerns to a Stonebridge Facebook page, many people commenting saying the sound is annoying or they have to use earplugs, another calling it just plain loud. There were speculations that the sound was meant to deter pigeons, but then the source emerged. An air conditioner at a seniors complex. The company that manages a Spear Hunter Village said regular maintenance on our HVAC system is required yearly, and the scope of work depends on what is needed to keep our systems in good and safe working order. We're committed to looking at all options to mitigate the impact to residents, team members, and the surrounding community next year. Adding, we value being part of the Stonebridge community and extend our sincere apologies. The city of Saskatoon referred us to their noise bylaw. It prohibits any noise which is unreasonably loud or excessive, unreasonably disturbs the comfort, peace, or safety of reasonable persons of ordinary sensitivity, or is so harsh, prolonged, unnatural, or unusual in time or place as to occasion unreasonable discomfort. Walters is hopeful the issue is resolved so he can open his windows this summer, but is prepared to follow up if needed.
We didn't have to call the police. We didn't have to call the city. We just dealt with it ourselves, and thankfully the company was willing to listen.
He adds that sounds like car horns or trains are a regular part of city life. Carla Shinkrook, CTV News, Saskatoon.
People gathered at Wanaskewin Heritage Park over the weekend to mark National Indigenous Peoples Day. While the rain put a damper on the outdoor plans, people were able to take in several activities inside. Mayor Cynthia Block was part of the day, addressing the crowd and taking in the celebrations. There were several educational opportunities, including a hands-on workshop where people had a chance to help process an elk hide.
There's something out here for everyone, so you can learn in a physical manner. You can learn just by watching. There's something out here for everybody. There's a lot of different voices and people you can hear from, and have different perspectives. So I think it's important to hear all of them at the same time.
Wanaskewin typically welcomes more than 1,000 visitors on National Indigenous Peoples Day. The grassroots organization is working to inspire a passion for STEM among Black youth in the province. STEM Sask began by providing one-on-one science, technology, engineering, and math support to Black kids in 2021. They have since grown and are working to engage the community in STEM through various workshops and educational programs. On Saturday, they hosted an open house to showcase the work some of the kids have created so far and to talk about their goals for the program.
I am really hoping that in the future we can reach more kids in Saskatchewan, more Black kids for sure, teens, and even see the kids transition from just elementary to high school and to university.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time Monday, Environment Canada has issued a tornado warning for south-central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised in and around the following localities: Watrous, Young, South Allen, Keniston, and Simpson. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail, and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Iran made good on its threat to attack the U.S. after the Trump administration dropped 30,000 bunker buster bombs on 3 nuclear facilities over the weekend. The U.S. was expecting it in what is being called a symbolic retaliation on a U.S. military airbase in Qatar. Joy Melvin reports.
Explosions boomed over the night sky, terrifying images of missiles seen over Doha and posted on social media. Iranian state TV said it fired missiles at the Al Adid U.S. military base that President Donald Trump visited just 1 month ago. Qatar says its air defenses managed to intercept Iranian missiles, and no casualties have been reported. The attack was announced on Iran's state TV Proportionate. Iran said to the attack by the U.S. it was bomb for bomb. This was retaliation, Iran says, for the U.S. bombing Saturday. Satellite imagery shows the damage to 3 nuclear facilities targeted by the U.S. President Donald Trump warned Iran this was a one-off and not to strike back, or else.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Iran reportedly gave Qatar advance notice of the attacks, temporarily closing its airspace, U.S. military bases, and major U.S. cities on high alert. The president meeting with his national security team and the Trump administration stressing
we're not at war with Iran, we're at war with Iran's nuclear program.
But it comes as the president, sure to anger Iran, floated the idea of regime change.
Of course, Iran would like to escalate in response to the Israeli and the American attacks, but we will see exactly whether Iran is actually able to effectively respond. And I think this is what we're going to see over the next 48 hours.
Throughout all this, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has kept in touch with Iranian officials. The Trump administration still leaving the door open to some kind of diplomatic resolution. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the federal government has started evacuating Canadian citizens from Israel. Canada has joined other countries in helping their people who want to leave the region. Bus services for Canadians started this morning from 2 locations to Jordan. 55 left Tel Aviv, 7 others from the West Bank. Bus routes also began yesterday to take Canadians who fled Iran for Turkey to locations where they can secure transport out of the region. Prime Minister Mark Carney was in Belgium today to meet with European leaders and sign a new defense and security agreement. But the conflict in the Middle East and calls for de-escalation with Iran threaten to overshadow the new commitments. Jeremy Sharon is traveling with the Prime Minister and has the latest from Brussels.
A morning visit to a military cemetery kick-started Prime Minister Mark Carney's first full day in Belgium. A ceremony to honor hundreds of fallen Canadian soldiers buried here after the First and Second World War. Ahead of this Canada-EU summit, a meeting between Carney and European leaders focused on joint security and defense.
Very, very warm welcome to this EU-Canada summit.
We look forward to moving to an ever closer partnership with the European Union.
Here, Carney signed a new security and defense pact with European Union leaders aimed at diversifying its trade and defense industrial partnerships, billed as a first step towards more defense procurement from Europe and an eventual plan to get Canada into the Rearm Europe military program.
It will help us deliver on our new requirements for capabilities more rapidly and more effectively. It will help build our industries, secure our jurisdictions.
But Carney's European trip has been dominated already by the escalating war in the Middle East. The Prime Minister spoke with President Trump overnight and says de-escalation was a focus of their conversation.
Where the state of Iran has been a sponsor of terrorism, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and beyond. And where at least in our opinion, Canada has listed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, active terrorist organization. These are violations of international law.
Carney travels to The Hague in the morning for a highly anticipated NATO meeting where it's expected the conflict in the Middle East will dominate too. NATO's Secretary General was pressed on it today.
That is why NATO has said Iran should not, and this is a consistent position of NATO, Iran should not have its hands on a nuclear weapon. So, and I would not agree that this is against international law what the U.S. did.
The Hague summit will also see the alliance look at a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP. Canada only this month committed to meeting the current 2% target this fiscal year, a decade after the alliance agreed to it. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Brussels.
The Canadian government has named its top negotiator for trade talks with the U.S. Kirsten Hillman will also continue in her role as Canada's ambassador to the U.S. Hillman was a key Canadian negotiator during the first Trump administration when NAFTA was renegotiated. She also served as Canada's chief negotiator for the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. Ottawa is seeking a new trade and security pact with the Americans. The city of Saskatoon lowered its flags today as the nation marks the 40th anniversary of the worst terror attack in Canadian history. On June 23, 1985, Air India Flight 182 took off from Toronto heading to Mumbai. A bomb planted by Sikh separatists exploded while the plane was over the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of Ireland. All 329 people on board were killed, including 268 Canadians. Commemorative ceremonies were held in several cities across Canada, as well as in County Cork, Ireland. Relief in Manitoba, where the province-wide state of emergency has been lifted. The danger from wildfires has receded, so the emergency rules are no longer needed, but crews are remaining vigilant as 23 blazes continue to burn. 7 of them are out of control. 21,000 people were forced to evacuate by the wildfires, but about 9,000 have been allowed to return home. More are expected to go home in the days ahead, particularly around the Flin Flon area. They are on track to return starting Wednesday after about 6,000 were forced to flee weeks ago. Police in Toronto are investigating a brazen break-in attempt using a rather unconventional tool. A backhoe excavator was used to smash the roof of a Scotiabank branch. Police say the robbers weren't able to get in and left before police arrived, leaving behind the machine and extensive damage to the building. All right, Jeff, some more wild, unsettled weather out there tonight.
It most certainly is. We've been talking about the watches and warnings coming and going. Well, they're back again now. This one down around in the Watrous area, but we are talking about a small spot, and that may be lifted very soon because all the watches and warnings had been lifted, but then this one appeared most recently, probably within the last 10 minutes or so. So we'll keep our eye on that. But now let's keep our eye on our numbers here. We've got ourselves 10 degrees in Saskatoon as well as in the Battlefords, both locations dealing with some showers right now. 13 degrees in Prince Albert, a bit on the breezy side, winds out of the east at 20, east at 19. The almanac for Saskatoon, 14 for a high. Yeah, it was a cool day, so almost 10 degrees below seasonal. 39 the record warm temperature, and 1941 the record cold temperature. 0 degrees in 1905. The sun's going to go down at 9:31.
Still to come, celebrating identity and love, rainbows, music, and camaraderie at the annual Saskatoon Pride Parade.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at our, it's a rainbow. Is it a double rainbow? Is there a second one there? I thought maybe we saw a couple there. Well, look at a beautiful shot there. There we go. Good old sky cam. Well, of course, there's still sort of rain in the area, so it's not exactly the end of the rain. And we can tell you, we'll talk about the tornado warning that's back in effect for areas around Young and Zelma and Watrous. But right now, we've got this area, this low pressure center that we anticipated this. It's going to develop. It has developed in Alberta. It's making its way across Saskatchewan. Some pretty intense weather. Again, we had some nasty weather in and around the north of the Outlook area earlier today. We're going to find out if that added up to any hail or anything like that. We haven't had any reports of it. But
the following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:31 p.m. Central Standard Time Monday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for South Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Lanigan, Jansen, Siemens, Duval, Govan, Nokomis, Watrous, Young, South Allen, Keniston, and Simpson. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail, and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
and Leader, but 11 degrees right now in Outlook and Elbow, and those two locations have no doubt been dealing with some nasty weather in the last hour or so. Keeping our eye on our future cast, so the computer modeling indicating that active weather moves out of Saskatchewan into Manitoba. Things calm down overnight, but then by tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, I should say, some pop-up showers in northern areas. Hopefully that's a good thing. I know they still need rain. So the area, the tornado warning is still in place now. It has shifted in the last little bit, but as you can see, it's in the Lanigan area now, so we'll keep our eye on that as it moves around. And that area of gray, there's just an air quality alert for areas up around Weaquin and Pine House because of the wildfire smokes in northern Saskatchewan. So for tomorrow, temperatures hanging around that 20-degree mark or thereabouts for northern Saskatchewan with a mix of sky conditions, a similar temperature pattern and sky pattern for west central parts of the province. Down south, a bit on the sunny side in Leader with 23, but but it's warmer in Maple Creek at 24, 22 in Swift Current, 19 in Outlook, 18 degrees for Yorkton, 21 in Regina, 22 in Moose Jaw, 24 in Estevan, and temperatures of 17 or 18 degrees under mainly cloudy skies for east central Saskatchewan on Tuesday. For the Battlefoods tonight, dropping down to 5 degrees with some showers and a risk of a thunderstorm, mainly cloudy skies on Tuesday, but 18 degrees, still below seasonal, but jumping up to 25 on Wednesday and Thursday, cooling off with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm on Friday and Saturday, rebounding a bit on Sunday, and 1 week from today, mainly sunny and 27. For Prince Albert area, pretty good chance of showers tonight with a risk of a thunderstorm, mainly cloudy skies tomorrow, and then up into around 26 degrees on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday cools off, and it comes with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm, mainly cloudy skies, and still 23 on Saturday. Sunday, mainly, well, it's going to be cloudy with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm, 24 and 27 with mainly sunny skies on Monday. And Saskatoon, a good chance of showers this evening. We've got rain right now. Severe thunderstorm warning is, or rather, a risk is there, not a warning. And then tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, 19 degrees, still below seasonal, and then warming up to 27 on Wednesday, Thursday 28, 23 on Friday and Saturday, both days with a slight chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm, but then mainly sunny skies on Sunday and Monday with temperatures of around 26 degrees.
Maybe they're not as bad as we think they are.
The live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon held on to the #1 spot for the second weekend in a row with $37 million US in ticket sales. Post-apocalyptic zombie thriller 28 years later debuted with $30 million across North America, while Pixar's Elio landed in third with about $21 million. Who wants calamari? It's almost time for the final chapter in one of Netflix's most popular shows of all time. The third and final season of Squid Game is out this week. Netflix says it picks up after season 2's cliffhanger as player 456 struggles to overthrow the games in the face of overwhelming despair and somehow even deadlier games. Squid Game season 3 begins streaming Friday. Be Still My Heart. BTS is getting ready to perform together again. Rapper and songwriter Suga from the global K-pop sensation has been discharged from South Korea's mandatory military service, and that means all 7 members now have completed their enlistment duties. They plan to reunite as a group sometime this year, now that they've all finished their service.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What do you have?
Let's take a look. Well, let's start off with this one. I like this one. I love it. This one comes to us from Michael. Saw the hare at the last minute, stopped about 4 feet away and took this picture. The hare didn't move until I walked about a foot from it. Have a great day full of health, fun, and happiness. Well, thank you, and thank you for sending in that picture. We got some great urban wildlife in this city. Dave sends us this next picture, and he says, took a shot of this beautiful rainbow Thursday night at 5:52 in Warman. That's a lovely shot there. Really, really very, very nice. Very, and I think there's a hint of a double rainbow there, but it's just a hint there. And finally, from Lana, oh, look at this. From the Christopher Lake area, here is a beautiful male ruby-throated hummingbird. Such a wonderful sight to see, and we will agree with that, and thank you for getting that great close-up. So thank you, Lana, and if you'd like to send an image to us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put Pick of the Day in the subject line, and oh, also take the pictures on the horizontal axis with your phone, just saying.
Still to come, the Riders stay undefeated thanks to a wild finish and celebrating Pride in downtown Saskatoon. People turned out in downtown Saskatoon to celebrate Pride over the weekend. The rain cleared up to make way for a sea of color as part of the annual Pride Parade. Hallie Mandrick has the story.
The Saskatoon Pride Parade returned once again to the streets of downtown.
It's always time for change, and this is positive when we see more and more people coming out from different areas, different walks of life, supporting our community, supporting the people that live here, and allowing them to be their wonderful, shiny, beautiful selves.
It was an opportunity to both celebrate how far the LGBTQ2S+ community has come and also acknowledge the work that still needs to be done.
It's not perfect in our day right now, but it shows that people really do care for queer youth and queer people and queer rights, and that it shows the struggles of people who have come before us, who have fought to get to this place. It's a celebration of those people.
Among the thousands in attendance, many young people were around to show off their pride.
Well, it's important simply because we couldn't do it before.
Those who spoke with CTV shared the event is an important opportunity to showcase the safe spaces available for LGBTQ2S+ youth.
They say that people are more queer nowadays, but it's not that there are more queer people because we're being propaganded. It's just because more people feel safe to be queer because we've always been here.
As a new generation continues the fight for equality.
This whole event started out as a protest, and now it's a celebration. But there's still a lot of work to be done. So let's hope that people leave feeling joyful, but also maybe a little self-reflective in terms of how they can support the community.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
When we come back, Super Mario comes up big for the riders. And later, your next trip to Shanghai could involve some Lego.
All right, let's take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. Well, just as advertised, it's still going to be cooler than seasonal, but we're going to bounce back on Wednesday. But for tomorrow, most places in the high teens, Kindersley expected to hit 21 degrees tomorrow under mainly sunny skies. Otherwise, looking at mainly cloudy conditions, temperatures basically around 18 degrees north and south of the Yellowhead. And then as we take a look at southern areas of the province, it starts to warm up a little bit. Look at that. Maple Creek was the hot spot today. They might be the hot spot tomorrow. We'll see. The Coronac's going to hit 25, it looks like. So maybe Coronac will be the hot spot tomorrow if all things pan out. 22 degrees in Carlisle, 19 in Broadview. By the time we get to Kenora, back onto the cool side of things at 17 degrees. So that warm-up is making its way from west to east, and we'll have to keep our eye on those temperatures for tomorrow. As for Langenburg, we're very close to the Manitoba border. 18 degrees. We're looking at partly cloudy skies tomorrow and not much of a wind, so moderate winds out of the northwest. And Langenburg is one of the many communities where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from Sasktel.
The Riders remain undefeated this season after Friday's last-minute win in Toronto.
It's remaining 32 all. Alford crosses the 20 to the 30 to the 40. He's got something to the 50. Come on races. No one's going to touch him.
With less than 10 seconds on the clock, Riders returner Mary Alford gave Saskatchewan the 39-32 victory over the Argos. Toronto had just tied the game 32 with a touchdown and 2-point conversion on the previous drive.
I was just hoping for us to get a good enough return where we could get in striking distance, have 2 or 3 plays to kind of get in field goal range. And so, and then Mario takes it back to the house. So you can't script any better than that.
The Riders start the season 3-0, while the Argonauts are still looking for their first win. Saskatchewan will host BC at Mosaic Stadium on Saturday. Ford is recalling about 32,000 of their Mach-E electric vehicles in Canada over the risk of potentially trapping passengers inside. The models in the recall are the Mustang Mach-E mid-size SUVs years 2021 to 2025. A low battery charge could cause the vehicle's electronic door latches to remain locked once the driver or front passenger exits and shuts their door. This could lead to backseat passengers unable to unlock their doors and being trapped inside. Ford says there's no reports of any injuries related to this issue, but a software update is in the works. Oil prices fell today even after the U.S. and Iran traded attacks. Traders were betting that flows of crude from the Middle East will not be disrupted. Andrew Bell explains.
Hello there. North American oil dropped more than $5 US a barrel today to trade below $69 after Iranian missile attacks on a US airbase in Qatar were less destructive than investors had feared. U.S. President Donald Trump's weekend air attacks on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities initially sparked fears that Iran would seek to close the Strait of Hormuz choke point. About 1/5 of the world's oil passes through that sea channel, which links the Persian Gulf with the Arabian Sea. Rebecca Babin, an energy trader at CIBC, told Bloomberg, quote, crude is pulling back as the market digests signs that energy infrastructure is not Iran's first choice for retaliation. On the markets, the Canadian dollar was down a fraction. It traded at 72.8 US cents. And the TSX Composite ended at 26,609.36, up just under 112 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up next, calling all Lego lovers. And kite lovers from far and wide gather for a fun event.
Hey there, Derek Chesty here at the Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. This week on Crime Stoppers Unmasked, we're asking for the public's assistance in finding those responsible for a homicide that took place in the city's west end in the 400 block of Olmsted Road on the early morning hours of June 12th, 2024. Harvey Zorb, 66 years old, lived in a care home in the 100 block of Olmsted Road. Harvey had a routine he liked to follow and was often up earlier than the other residents. At 5 a.m. on June 12th, Harvey left his home before breakfast to get a drink from the 7-Eleven on Pendergrass Road. He purchased a drink at 5:25 a.m. and left the convenience store to head back home to Herbert S. Sears Park. A short time later, as Harvey made his way through the park, he was attacked. One witness saw 3 possible suspects. Harvey was brutally beaten with what police believe a T-shaped piece of metal. He was found around 6 a.m. with life-threatening injuries. Harvey received medical attention on scene and was then transported to hospital where he later died. Police, through their investigation, seized many hours of video surveillance, and they are confident that the killer and their associates are in this video. After reviewing the crime scene footage, police could see a large amount of foot traffic in and around the area of Herbert S. Sears Park that morning. Therefore, it is known that there are witnesses that have seen something that have not yet come forward. Do you have any information about this senseless and violent homicide or who is responsible for Harvey's death? If so, please give us a call at 1-800-222-8477 or leave a tip online at SaskatoonCrimeStoppers.com. We pay cash rewards of up to $2,000 for information about this crime. Tips are completely anonymous. We don't want your name, we just want your assistance. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers, do your part to stop crime in our community.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming right here on CTV, starting at 7 with American Ninja Warrior. Well, your next trip to Shanghai could also include a trip to Legoland Shanghai. It had its soft launch ahead of a grand opening in July. The park will be the world's largest Legoland and features more than 75 interactive rides, shows, and attractions. There's also the Lego Miniland, which has various landmarks across China, including the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and Shanghai itself. All the models took more than 20 million bricks to build, over 168,000 hours.
Zowie.
That's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a little bit closer to home. Spectators in southern Saskatchewan were blown away over the weekend, and here's why. Kiters from across North America gathered in Swift Current for the 19th annual Windscape Kite Festival. Despite the cooler weather, hundreds of people showed up to watch during the 2-day festival. There were kids' activities, including the opportunity to build and then fly your own kite. The event is possible thanks to more than 200 volunteers. looks like they got the wind.
Yeah, they got the wind, yes. A lot of us got the wind. And so, yeah, it's just been that way. And the inclement weather continues. Let's take a quick look at our map here. And we can certainly see that watch box area that's in and around the Lanigan, Watrous, Lockwood area. That's still, I shouldn't say watch box, it's a tornado warning box right now. So we're keeping our eye on that. It hasn't really moved all that much. So nothing yet in terms of reports. So let's take a quick look and see what we've got going on with our numbers for tomorrow for Saskatoon and area. What's going on with the machine? There we go. There you go. 10, 12, 16. Boom. You're done.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.